Hi, my name is Roxanne Sebastian. Today is October 7, 2018, and this is week 5 of Bio 230 course at Los Angeles Pacific University. So for this week's video exercise, I will locate the axial and appendicular skeleton. So this is the anterior skull, and this is your nasal bone, your sphenoid bone right there. Your lacrimal bone is right there. Ethmoid bone is right there. And then ethmoid, the zygomatic bone is right there. Maxilla, mandible, and then the frontal, and the vomer bone. And next is your the posterior skull. So for posterior skull, this is the mandible, the occipital, the parietal, and the temporal bone. And then the lateral view of the skull. So we have the ethmoid bone, the frontal bone, the lacrimal right there, lacrimal, and then we have the mandible, the maxilla right there, nasal, occipital, parietal, and then the temporal bone and the zygomatic bone. Next is the inferior of the skull. So for inferior of the skull, this is the ethmoid bone, and then the frontal bones right here, and then down here will be your occipital bone, the parietal bone in here, the sphenoid bone right there, and the temporal bone right here. And then next will be your vertebral column. So this is your vertebral column. This is the atlas, the axis, the 7 cervical vertebrae, the thoracic vertebrae right there. So there's 12, and then the lumbar vertebrae. So there's 5, and then your sacrum and your coccyx bone right there. And then next is your thoracic cage or your rib cage. So this is your body of sternum, the manubrium of the sternum, and then from 1 to 7 is your true ribs right there, and then from 8 to 12, these are your false ribs, and then 11 and 12 is also called the floating ribs. So next is the appendicular skeleton. So this is the pectoral girdle and the upper limbs. So first, this is your clavicle right there, clavicle, and then this is your scapula right there, scapula, your humerus, your ulna, and your radius. So next is your capitate. So capitate, I mean your hand and wrist. So this is your capitate, your handnate, your lunate, your metacarpals. So there's 5 metacarpals. Your phalange or phalanges. This is your pisiform, your scaphoid, your sesamoid bone would be right there. The trapezium, the trapezoid will be here, and your triquetrium. So next is the pelvic girdle and the lower limbs. So this is your ilium, your ischium right there, and your pubic bone right there. And then for the lower limbs, this is the femur, the patella, the fibula, and the tibia. And then for the last part, we have the feet, calcaneus, your cuboid, your intermediate cuneiform right there, and your lateral cuneiform will be here, and medial cuneiform will be here, the metatarsals here, the phalanges are here, the talus will be here, talus, and can you see it? What else? The talus and the navicular right there. Navicular, the talus. So that's the axial and the appendicular skeleton, and that concludes my week 5 video for Bio 230. Thank you.